an original MCM production.
So let's start with Peter, who's got a short presentation. Peter Feigin.
So this is actually like a significant event for me. This was the first event I ever did in Milwaukee. So I had the great Don Walker, who's no longer with us, throwing curveballs at my head like any great professionally trained, researched writer would as I came up here on day 3 in Milwaukee. Jim was nice enough to print a PolitiFax that I screwed up during my speech at the at the Rotary, so it was a really warm welcome to the city of Milwaukee. It was really great. It was great. So I'll say a lot of approximately's and maybes and sounds like and what ifs, but we're obviously in a much different place than a year ago, and we're extremely thankful and we're extremely appreciative of the support and the coalition we've had behind us, and more importantly about the future. So what I've really done is kind of, I have what we call a sizzle reel, which we think is hot and sizzling to kind of recap, and then we kind of transition into really about the development, which I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions about and go. So I'll let the videos do the talking.
Few events match this in intensity and excitement. We have a packed out house tonight.
Jabari Parker, long three.
You have witnessed the first Bucks victory of the new era. Fans stand in appreciation.
Jason Kidd has changed the culture and the expectations here, and these young guys are responding.
Oh, up top!
Milwaukee Bucks, NBA players.
Good job, good pass.
Let's have some fun. Let's run a little bit harder. Yeah!
It is time for the Sprite Slam Dunk.
You look at this kid, he just keeps going.
It is Elimination Saturday in Milwaukee, and the Bucks are certainly up for what's ahead of them.
You can see the intensity of this game.
This is fantastic basketball. These guys are giving it their all.
The Bucks have extended the series. They are going back to Chicago.
The Bucks bring in Greg Monroe.
And there's a glimpse of the future.
This is our time. A bold new beginning in Milwaukee. A new home for NBA champions, destined to create energy, excitement, and passion across the state. The ripple effect starts here. This is Wisconsin's home. From the court to concerts, the year-round destination pulses with the spirit of a revitalized city. A proud heritage is the spark for a bold new future. A transformation spread beyond basketball in the walls of our new home, transforming a community with new development, jobs, growth, and opportunity. The ripple effect of a new era begins today. It spreads across the riverfront, up through Bronzeville, and across the great state of Wisconsin. Now is the time to own the future.
So it really segues to where we are today. We have an incredible responsibility and accountability to all the citizens of the state of Wisconsin, the city citizens, the county, the state citizens, to start developing. And I think timing-wise and process-wise, we're getting to the point where we need a finalized master plan on this development. We need the details of what this looks like. I'm sure Alderman Murphy will tell you that we have a long road ahead of what our building, what our permitting, what our zoning is, how to get the details of this vision. But we're excited now because we're on that next step of actually building, which is great. And even more importantly, and we've made no excuses, actually our leverage point is this team's success is going to be a catalyst to accelerate this growth even faster. And I think it's really important to know that we've got two simple goals at the Milwaukee Bucks. One is to win an NBA championship and everything that comes with it, and one is to be the best-of-class business in the world. And what that means as a community member, what that means as a business partner, and more importantly, what it means as a service. Like, we want your experience, whether it be at the Bradley Center for the next couple of years or in a new arena, to be beyond reproach and to be awesome. We're not there yet. We're getting there. It's our goal. It's building blocks. We think this is going to be a team and a project and a development that really has a sense of a pride of ownership among all of us. And that's really our goal. And we're very excited about it. Again, I can't tell you how ecstatic we are that I do have to watch my words still, but we are no longer in the political phase of really trying to organize the state, the county, and the city a year ago, which we were. And we're really at the partnership phase with government to really build this, which is fantastic. So I hope to see you all at a Bucks game this year. I hope to see you come again to a Bucks game this year because you'll love it when you come. And we're very excited about the development. We can't thank you enough for your support. If you didn't support us, we promise you this will be fantastic. And we will prove to you that we should build this and why we are building this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Let's hear from one of our local team owners, Mr. Nettles.
Well, good afternoon. It's great to be back here at Milwaukee Rotary and to see so many familiar faces, so many good friends who I have the pleasure of working with on so many business and community interests. So thanks for the invitation. Well, I have really enjoyed the last year. It's been an absolutely unbelievable, phenomenal ride. The organization is completely transformed from the front office to the floor, and it's been very exciting to be a part of that. I have a significant amount of respect and admiration for the majority owners out of New York, Wes Edens, Mark Lasry, and Jamie Dinan, who not only bought a franchise and were committed to keeping it in Milwaukee, but who really wanted to embrace this community fully and not be arrogant about the way they would act and engage with the community as new owners. And they have been, in my interactions with them, absolutely pitch perfect about the way they have gone about embracing this community and really building, as Peter said, a world-class organization. And I very much have enjoyed being a part of that experience. When this was first happening, I think it was Lasry, who was at an MMAC board meeting, who said early on in the process that they wanted to make sure they did this right and they wanted to engage the community. And they said to this group of business leaders at the MMAC meeting that if people in the room would have any interest in partnering and investing in the franchise, or if we knew others who might, that they would really welcome and encourage that. And I heard that message and got together with some friends, and with 4 other African American families, we formed a group that's known as Partners for Community Impact. And we thought that we could individually invest in the team, but we felt that there'd be some real psychic benefit to having us form this group of African American families and to invest collectively. So that's what we did. And because I'm not into marketing, I'd come up with a very crass name for our group. And one of the members of the group, Valerie Daniels Carter, who's a much more astute businesswoman than I am, business person, she said, that name won't work, but given what it is that we hope to establish, what we hope to do, I think the name Partners for Community Impact is the right name for our organization. And it immediately resonated with us, because not only did we want to be a part of a successful business, not only do we want to be a part of a world renowned and championship franchise, we also wanted to make sure that the benefits of the Bucks and not just the basketball team, but all of the broad benefits that we'll have a chance to talk about extended more broadly to the community. And we wanted to partner with the Bucks to make sure that there'd be positive impact in our community beyond, I'll say, the usual suspects. And when we talked to the majority owners about that, they certainly embraced that vision. When we talked to NBA about that, they certainly embraced that vision. And it's really have allowed us to be a partner with the ownership at the table, having a very constructive conversation about ways that we can ensure that this franchise is not only successful on the floor, but the benefits of this franchise are realized more broadly across our community. And we think we're well on our way to doing that. So that's been a real joy for us to participate in. From my perspective, as a native son of this community, someone born and raised in Milwaukee who could have gone anywhere and was committed to staying here, I really do view this franchise as a generational, transformational opportunity. And for me personally, it's about so much more than basketball. It's about how do you build a great city? How do you build a great community? And for those of us who know about the knowledge-based economy, there's certain cultural assets that a community has to have if it's going to be a tier 1 community. And that's arts, and that's entertainment, and that's sports. And you've got to create an environment where people want to be. This can't be an outpost, with no amenities, because other people will choose to go elsewhere. The leaders of the knowledge-based economy, current and future generations, will choose to go elsewhere. And as we were engaging the community in this conversation about public financing, the thing that resonated with me most is I'd be literally in this building, and there'd be some 22-year-old young person who'd walk up to the mic speaking to state officials, county officials, or city officials, and they'd say, I'm 22, I'm graduating from UWM, I'm coming out of MATC, and I could go anywhere. But if you guys really want me to stay here in this community, then you got to make it the kind of place that I want to be and that we want to be. And that message was really encouraging and resonated with me. And then at the other end of the bell curve, I'd be in the same room or same building, and a 75 or 85-year-old person would make their way up to the mic, and they'd say, I want my children and my grandchildren and their children to want to be a part of this community. So for me, this is really about more than a basketball team. It's how do we create the kind of city that we all can be excited to live in, that we all can be proud of, that when I talk to my friends out in New York and I talk to them about coming to a 3-day weekend in Milwaukee, I don't have to do that with shame or embarrassment. I can say, yeah, when you're tired of all the traffic and the congestion there, come out here and enjoy a city that is livable, that is walkable, and that has all the arts and sports amenities you can ever hope for. And that's part of what we all have to be a part of building in this community. And the Bucks in this franchise and this opportunity gives us one vehicle through which to pursue that vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Murphy.
Thank you, Jim. Let me begin by thanking the Rotary for inviting me and the Milwaukee Press Club. I want to say specifically to the Rotary, we are so grateful for your generosity for the Arboretum on the River West neighborhood. That has added a great vision to the landscape of our city, and we appreciate your generosity. I'll maybe also begin by saying we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for one individual, and that's Senator Cole. Senator Cole made an incredible, generous donation of $100 million toward this project. There's very few individuals, not just in the city of Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin, but the country, that demonstrates that type of generosity as Senator Cole. He certainly could have spent that money on any other issue he wanted. He chose to invest it in the city of Milwaukee. And so we're very appreciative of his leadership for his many years on the U.S. Senate, but certainly his leadership owning the Milwaukee Bucks, but recognizing the importance of keeping this team here in the city of Milwaukee. You know, I'm a lifelong resident of Milwaukee. I grew up on the playgrounds of the city, and I know the importance of what sports can mean. Sports can play a big role in terms of your identity as a city, and it would have been a great loss to lose the Milwaukee Bucks. And there are certainly enough places around the United States would want a team like the Milwaukee Bucks to go to their community. So I think this is a big challenge that we have met, and they are going to be here for the next 30 plus years, if not longer. We recognize, though, that the development of the arena is important as it is to keep the Milwaukee Bucks. The importance also is really the ancillary development surrounding the Milwaukee Bucks. It is our goal and hope to see that development grow from not only the initial investment of a $500 million arena, but to see that investment grow surrounding the community, and to make sure people in this community, all parts of our community, take a role in the building of that arena, but all take a role in the development of the jobs in the community. I see Dr. Hall here from the African American Chamber of Commerce, the president of the National League of NAACP. For too long, we have not seen enough people of color in projects on these developments. So I do want to recognize and thanks the Milwaukee Bucks for working with us on a residence preference program and making sure people that generally haven't had the same opportunities to get into the trades and working with the trades to make sure that they play a big role in development of this project. You know, we have a big unemployment problem in the city of Milwaukee, and it strikes mainly people of color. The numbers are quite honestly very depressing. They're Depression-era numbers. So it's incumbent upon city leaders, and I'm very appreciative of my council members on the Common Council recognizing that and pushing that issue. And quite honestly, for the Milwaukee Bucks for working with us and compromising. It is a big goal that we're asking, and we're going to try and meet that goal. But it's incumbent upon all of us that this development is more than just the Milwaukee Bucks. As much as I love the Milwaukee Bucks and as much as I love sports, it's the development of our whole city. And there are a lot of great things going on in Milwaukee we should all be very proud of. Northwestern Mutual Life Development is a $455 million development, the largest office development in the state. We have Mark Ergen's project. We have the streetcar. We have the culture. We have a lot of fabulous projects going on in our city. Yesterday, the Department of Housing and Urban Development awarded us a $30 million grant, one of 5 cities in the United States to receive that grant to develop the west side of our community. Just today at 11 o'clock, I'm very pleased to see that the Greater Milwaukee Foundation awarded the MKE Playground project that I'm sponsoring a $200,000 grant, which now means that our program has raised over $800,000 in private money to renovate 12 playgrounds that were desperately in need of investment from the city in a public-private collaborative partnership. These are all positive things going on in our community. And quite honestly, I think most of us in this community are too humble. I mean, I grew up that way. I'm sure you did. You don't talk about, what you've accomplished and what you've done. And in many respects, that's a great trait of Midwesterners. But at the same time, we've been too humble about our city. We have a great city. We do have challenges. Like any great city in the United States. But there's a lot of positive things going on in this community. So I'd ask you, all of you, to try and spread that word that you should be proud of this community. We put this project together. It certainly wasn't without controversy, but we put this project together realizing the totality of this investment will spin off and help our community for not just 5, 10 years, but many years, helping all our citizens in our community. Thank you.
So now, let's answer a few questions, if you guys wouldn't mind. Peter.
Yes, Jim.
There's been some test borings going on and other work on the site. We occasionally see it from our office windows at the Journal-Sentinel. When are we going to see the wrecking ball knock down some of the buildings that are in the way? And most importantly, is it realistic that you're going to be open in time for the 2017 season?
So I think when we talk about construction and having heavy machinery on the site, we're probably talking at the first quarter of next year would be our goal to get it. I will tell you, schedule-wise, we're a little delusional, so we think anything's realistic. Everything has to go right to get this built in 24 months. Will everything go right? We hope so, but we're prepared to. I will tell you what we will not do is open an arena or open a district or center that is not perfect and not great. So our overwhelming objective is to build a fantastic center that is ready to be populated, and hopefully that's within a 24-month period.
We've seen some of the early preliminary design sketches, and when do you figure you'll have more architectural work to show us and to?
So I think our goal, and again, I'll use gross numbers because I don't want to be political checked tomorrow morning. In the next 30 to 60 days,
don't tempt me.
We think we're going from renderings, which is a lot of the pictures you've seen, to schematics. So we're going from feet and yards to inches, and we are in the kind of final phases and kind of gone through ownership with those, and we hope to be able to start really submitting some plans to the city for permitting and zoning within the next 30 to 60 days. So relatively soon.
Okay. Cory, I think you outlined your role with the partners group that you helped launch. I don't think people realize how many local investors the team has. And can you outline how big your local group is beyond the partners?
What's the total number of individuals?
22.
Yeah. So Peter's just coaching me that the total number of individuals across the community is 22. And our group is 5, including your former Rotarian president, Jackie and Michael Hurd Barber. Also in our group is Charles and Cheryl Harvey, a retired executive from John's Controls, Burgess Colbert, a retired executive from Miller Brewing Company, and Valerie Daniels Carter, who owns several food franchise businesses. But the thing that's interesting to me is that this is a very broad and diverse group of owners. And all segments of business represented, all segments of the community represented. And everyone has really stepped up and said, how can I add value based upon what I've done? And whether that's their business experiences, whether it's community engagement, it really is a very broad group that's been really fully engaged and rowing together behind our majority owners to make sure that we have a winning team and a successful franchise here.
Okay. Alderman Murphy, in Tom Dakin's story, in the recent story in the Journal Sentinel, you expressed concern about the power that Scott Neitzel, Secretary of Administration, Scott's the chairman of the Wisconsin District Board as of, last week or so, when you first met. Can you elaborate on why you're concerned about the amount of power that one individual has within that organization?
It's accurate. He has an extraordinary, unbelievable amount of power. This one individual has the ability to negotiate the lease with the Milwaukee Bucks. He does not need the approval of the Wisconsin Center District Board, and this is the largest contribution towards the project. It's approximately $93 million, but if you add in the bonding and the interest rates, it could approach over $203 million. Depends on what the Fed does on the rate, probably in the next few weeks. But the issue is he will, and as he indicated, use the board as a consulting in terms of helping him in reaching his decision. But why do I feel it's important? Obviously, I think the issue of the non-relocation agreement, I think, is critical. As part of the state statute, it did provide a clawback provision and provided an ability for injunctive relief if, in fact, the team is sold in the future years. This is a huge commitment from the public, whether it's state, county, or city. It's $250 million in capital with interest $400 million. And I think it's incumbent upon elected officials, whether it be city, county, or state, to protect that financial interest. And I quite honestly have read the statute pretty thoroughly. I thought it was fairly weak in terms of its content. I'm sure Peter would disagree with that. But the reality is that I have tried to express to the Secretary Neitzel, and I do think he takes it to heart, that we need to negotiate perhaps a better provision in that character with that lease. So obviously I'm not going to go into any great detail on that. That'll be open for discussion between the two parties. But I feel that we do have to have a level of trust that's understandable going in this. But the reality is that I'm nervous, when the team, with the new contract with this, with TV, additional revenue, I think one could argue that the team is certainly worth more than $550 million as if we were to put it up for sale today. And, you never know in 10, 15 years what happens. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. So the reality is we want to see that our investment is secure. And so that's what I've raised to the Secretary, and hopefully he'll take it to heart. But under the state statutes, it's one individual negotiating this lease, and that's a pretty awesome responsibility for that individual to have.
Just checking as a follow-up, the proceedings and the records of the Wisconsin Center District, are those public records?
Yes. Repeat the question?
Your proceedings, your meetings, and, everything's public records. So at some point, the media will have access to everything that's been done.
Absolutely.
Let's shift gears to our local organization, Common Ground, for a minute. We heard a lot from that group in the time leading up to the various votes on a variety of concerns, the foreclosure crisis, but also on their interest in playgrounds and facilities for children and so forth. I'd like each of you to address what you think is the primary concern raised by Common Ground that you see, and going forward, what role do you think that organization and their concerns will have as this project unfolds? Do you see any role for them?
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, there is always room for a dialogue about issues that exist in our community and how we ought to solve them. The problem that one of the main central problem that I think I had with Common Ground was it was right song, wrong dance. And I never could understand how the issues that they raised, legitimate as they were, substantively had anything to do with what we were trying to accomplish through the arena and the ancillary development. I certainly respect their right to come forward and to say that there are deficiencies in this community that need to be addressed, and there are many. Whether you talk about playgrounds, whether you talk about education funding, whether you talk about infrastructure, we can all sit here with a list, our wish list of all the issues that we wish would be addressed in our community. And I'm happy to have that conversation. I think there needs to be a forum for that in the context of, how do we make our community great again? I did not see how it at all had anything to do with what we were trying to do on the Bucks side with the arena and ancillary development, and I respectfully disagreed with their desire to hold hostage, in my view, the work that we were trying to do with the arena and ancillary development in advance of what I think were otherwise legitimate concerns about for community investment.
I would echo a lot of what Cory said, and just come on. We were on the receiving end of what I would consider tactics that we just don't respond to, unfortunately, because we've been very good citizens. It's very important to us to sit down at the table to negotiate. I can tell you that we were helpful catalysts, as well as West Eden, in getting Nation Star to the table with the mayor's office and with the Common Council to resolve some of the issues. The community is the utmost important to us. We understand the issues, and as it applied to the policy of the Bucks Arena, we really did not respond to Common Ground for obvious reasons, and it's not the way we conduct business.
Well, I'm the only one on this table that had a prayer card issued in his name by Common Ground, which I do take that as a compliment. But Common Ground certainly plays an important role in terms of a dissenting organization that wants to voice their concerns, and that's part of democracy, and they do play an important role. However, on the issue of playgrounds, it's something that's been dear to my heart for many, many years. So that initiative I've been working on for over 10 years, and recently I've been able to raise $800,000 in private resources to fix 12 playgrounds in our city over the next 3 years. But more than that, the council hasn't ignored this issue. We do recognize that play space is an important part of our community. It's not either or, it's both. So for example, 2 parks that I grew up playing soccer in were in terrible condition. One was South Division, and the other was Custer, now Barack Obama High School. Both those fields, and I bet there's people in this room that have played ball in both of those locations. They were terrible 35 years ago. They were falling apart when I was playing there. So in the last several years, the City Council helped Milwaukee Public Schools to bond both those projects. They weren't cheap. They came to over $18.5 million to renovate both those play fields. So the council is not ignoring the reality that we want healthy play spaces in our city. I want to make sure you understand we recognize that the importance of play space is not only important for the healthy physical attributes of our children and our young adults, but for their mental health also. So we are recognizing that, and we are seeking out collaboration and partnerships, and we continue to do that going forward. And we will certainly take into the consideration Common Ground's comments, but we are looking forward to our city.
So let's pretend for a second that I own a bar on Water Street. You're welcome to stop in anytime. With all the development promised around the arena, the ancillary development, looking forward, I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous that you're going to take every patron away on game day and concert day and all that. What do you say to those business owners who have been doing business for a long time and enjoying business from the Bucks, and you're going to be building an entertainment complex right next to the arena?
Jim, I say, let me ease your concerns.
Please.
More people means more business. More people working there, more people living there, more people interacting there over more days of the year means more business. This arena is designed not to have any sit-down restaurants, so it's almost designed in part to promote eating and socializing like around the city. Events, as everybody knows in the city and culturally, like are huge to have because of the pre and the post of what it means for the entire community. When you book an arena with 17,500 people, there are not enough restaurants and bars to sit those people for the event dates. So this is all about 1 and 1 equals 3. This is about creating more population, creating more people with disposable income, and driving traffic for commerce.
Anybody else?
You know, it's interesting, Jim. I, in all honesty, never got a single email or complaint from any of the businesses on Water Street saying this was a huge issue. So I appreciate the question, but I just never heard it. Maybe some of my colleagues may have gotten a few calls, but I do think I am concerned about supply and demand. But I think if we do this right, where we design the facility and design the other businesses in the public plaza in a manner in which adds value, I think the supply and demand will correct itself by, I think, more people want to be downtown. And we are seeing that when you look at the apartments being developed downtown. We see a lot of empty nesters who don't want to take care of the cutting the grass and shoveling the snow, and they want to be in a city where it has all the cultural and arts and entertainment. So if we can grow the density of downtown, and I mean grow it significantly, I think that will correct itself.
I'll ask one more question, and then we'll open it to you, all of you. What about the Milwaukee Theater and the Panther Arena? Should those live, die? What are we going to do with those facilities?
Thank you, guys.
President Murphy?
Yeah. So the Wisconsin Theater and the Panther, I mean, right now the theater has a substantial debt of $28.7 million outstanding, and those bonds need to be paid off first. I may not have agreed to the decision at the time when that was made that we kept that theater, but that is water under the bridge. So going forward, I think it would be hard-pressed to see anyone in the community to see that building tear down when you have a $27+ million debt on it. So I don't see that as a reality. What I do see is perhaps the partnership we can develop with the Marcus Center and others and how to program it better and make it more efficient. I think the theater certainly has unique characteristics about it that it could be augmented and improved with better leadership. And I think we're going to work towards making that a reality. And of course, I'm a graduate of UW Milwaukee, so I love that the Panthers are the sponsorship of that team. And make sure you go to those games. They're also great basketball to see the Panthers play. But the reality is, as times move on, we'll be evaluating that decision with the Wisconsin Center District as we progress.
On behalf of the Press Club and the Rotary Club, thank you all, and thank you all for attending.
An MCM production.